develop a thinking tools ability. In other words, it's like saying to go with a house, right? All right, we're going to go and deal with this house and fix it. Yeah. But you want to go and fix it, you don't even know how to use the tools. You're just going to make it worse. Yeah. No, first learn how to use the tools, then you can go and deal with the house. And you can, instead of fixing a house which you want to live in that's leaky and rainy, no, build a separate house that you can live comfortably in. And then you can work on the broken house at your leisure. You're not dependent. You're not being stressed by the leaky roof. Yeah. So now you're not aggravating the stress by being stressed about having stress. It's a very, very sophisticated understanding of psychology, Joseph. Yeah. So understanding emphasis in its full sense of the word. If you focus on fixing the cracks first, you end up with a problem. Beside which, if the jar and that you're talking about here, the thing itself, is limited, it's less. You fix it. So what? Yeah. All right. So I have this little jar and I need a bigger jar. I need a nicer jar. I need a better jar. I can maybe fix that jar that I have and I have this little crappy jar that works. It's fixed. It's not cracked. But so what? Still a crappy jar. See? No. Doesn't help me to necessarily fixing that jar. Doesn't help me to deal with all of life. Find out how to deal with all of life and then the jar is not an issue. Whenever it comes up, you'll be able to deal with it. So very different way of going about it. Yeah, it's a much, much, much more valuable and sophisticated way of going about it, right? And of course, you don't have to take my word for it. You can just ask people who've done this, right? And when you understand way of impeccability, I think you'll have to come and do way of impeccability at some point, Joseph, and then you can evaluate. Yeah, because without doing it, it's very hard to evaluate the fullness of the system. Yes, I share a lot, and Bina shares a lot about it, but without actually doing it, it's hard to really appreciate the full power and value of it. Yeah. And it's self-evident once you do it. Yeah. So yeah, anybody wants to do it, just let me know. Actually, when we start doing our show coming soon, we're going to do a publicly available group way of impeccability. In the past, I've always done individually, which Georgiane asked about cost. This makes it expensive. But we'll do it group, which has its own marvelous benefits, which you don't get as an individual. And of course, individually also have benefits, but we'll do it as a group where everybody can participate. Anybody who chooses, right? So we'll do that. So very, very powerful. And then Joseph, you're more than welcome to come and do, and then you'll have a whole different perspective on what I'm sharing, right? Because it's a paradigm shift, Joseph. Yes, you cannot evaluate what I'm sharing without shifting the paradigm. It's a paradigm shift. If you stay in the old paradigm, you see things through the filter and the lens of the paradigm. Yeah. And you're always going to have that influence of the old paradigm. And you cannot actually perceive what's going on because those filters are still there. So we have to jump out of that, yeah, and get into a new paradigm. There's just one thing that will change perception is that saying for me. Just try it, Joseph. Whenever you make a comment, say for me, colon, and then whatever you see. You'll see how it transforms your own psychology. It's fantastic. It's very simple, but incredibly powerful. It transforms everything you say. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. I love it, Joseph. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, we better go. Bina and I we're going to do a short live today, but we got all into this magic. Are you still here, Bina? Bina's probably fallen asleep already. But you bring up so much, Joseph. You bring up so much. And of
Seriously,
course, Shah and Joanne and everybody. I love it. Norma.
seriously, seriously.
I know. I know. It's important stuff. Important stuff. Important stuff.
Oh yes, it
Massive.
is. It is.
It's
It is.
simple.
And this is the magic of moreness. This is what we are sharing, and this is what the actual meaning of community, moreness culture.
Yes. Exactly. Mourners community. Exactly. 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 I love what all the sharing. Joseph brings up such wonderful stuff. It's and again, see, I'm not going about agree and disagree. I'm adding deeper understanding to it. What Joseph says is valid within the context that he's applying it, but there's a extra context. There's more involved that very much affects what he's saying. So I'm not discussing it within his context only. I'm discussing it in the greater context, and not just a greater context, but a different paradigm. And the traditional paradigm of helping is to tell people how to live, tell them what to do, give them advice. This is what helping means. But when we understand the negative of that, when we really think it through, we say this is actually counterproductive. It's not actually helpful. Right? I mean, I could explain that, but it'll be a long explanation. So when we shift the paradigm, we start to see bigger picture. Oh, I thought I was helping, but I'm not actually helping. It's very hard for most therapists and counselors and life coaches to realize that they're actually being counterproductive. Very hard, very hard. Very, very hard. Very, very difficult. Anyway, we'll kind of tomorrow this can come up again. I'm sure it'll come up a lot more. So we'll talk more about it. But yeah, right
Yes.
now we do need to go. We do need to go. I never like to finish things because of time. That's what I'm saying. We can continue as appropriate tomorrow. Anytime we can talk about this for the next months, years, if need be, however long it takes. Yeah, it's a very, very important, very, very important point. Yeah, big deal, big deal, big deal. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Sher.
Thank you, everyone.